Welcome to Down Under Motorsport and our first race preview for 2023. I plan to use this structure for the future racetrack previews for the rest of the year. Start out with a track preview and then the race predictions, as well as any motorsport news that have happened this week. Be sure to check out my social media. I've got TikTok, YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, all called Down Under Motorsport, so feel free to give them a look. Let's get underway. Now, for the racetrack preview, Newcastle has been held 3 previous times from 2017 through to 2019. In 2017, it held the controversial end where Scotty missed the apex at turn 1, which led to Craig Lowndes getting alongside, and Scotty made that late defensive move while Craig was alongside and put him in the wall, and in the end did cost Scotty that championship. Now, at the time, I was confused by any chance that Scott would get a penalty. My inner forward bias coming out, but no, that was well deserved. In 2018, race 1 had David Reynolds on rails, winning the race, followed by Scotty running out of fuel in the second race, letting Shane through for the victory. Although later Shane was handed a penalty, which gave him the win back to Scotty. Over 2017 and 2018, I saw somewhere that David Reynolds was in fact actually the biggest point scorer throughout those 2 years combined. Now, into 2019, which was the last year we raced there, Triple Eight won both races. Both races provided a consistent amount of drama, and Scott was crowned champion. To be honest, I think this is, for Supercars teams, this is probably the worst track to start out for this championship, but for the viewer, it is going to be an absolute blast. Now, for the race predictions, I'm getting through this actually pretty quickly. I don't actually think this video is going to be that long. Now, we go to Newcastle with a blank sheet of paper. The Gen 3 cars don't have any major similarities that could provide much assistance. Obviously, there will be an idea of how to structure the car in terms of performance around the track, whether it's a higher drag, lower drag, that type of thing. Erebus seemed to be on the money at Newcastle, as well as the DJR and Triple Eight forces. Because there are 2 races, I was toing and froing whether to pick the individual race results or just pick an overall round result, winners and losers, but I will pick the podiums for both the races, as well as a driver and team winner from the round, as well as driver and team losers for the round. So, in race 1, P3 will be Brody Kostecki. I really believe he will be a contender this year. Not for the championship, but he will be a top 5 regular. I do see him finishing in P3. His speedway experience should allow him to control this car, this absolute beast of a vehicle. Now, P2, David Reynolds, he always shows up at Newcastle. With P1 being Shane, all this controversy, whether we think Shane, well, not controversy, debate, where we just love to hate the winner. But, Shane, I have no doubt he will be on the front foot and leading the way through race 1. Now, race 2, I have put in P3 Cam Waters. Now, whether this is a slow start or not, I've just put him in P3. Wasn't on the podium in race 1. Now in P2 will be Shane. Again, nothing wrong. I just think P1 of Chaz Mostert will, Chaz and Shane will have a little battle together for sure throughout this weekend at least. But in race 2, Chaz will come out on top. Now, for the winners and losers of the weekend, we will start off with the team winner, and I have put Erebus. I really think this year is the year for them. They've got 2 young guns who, are full of performance. They are ready to match it to the top guys. I think overall they will be a standout performer for this weekend. Getting rid of Triple Eight, DJR, that sort of thing. I think Erebus will really do a good job. Now, driver, David Reynolds, you cannot go past him. I think his experience, that Mustang in Grove's hands, I really do think, they will do their best. But yeah, now for the losers of the weekend, for team, I've put DJR. Now, I don't think they're going to have an absolute shocker. I just think they won't see the podium. They maybe won't even see top 5 for this weekend. I don't know. I just have that weird feeling. Watch this get clipped, and I'm going to be completely wrong. And they've won at least one or two, maybe both races. But now, for the driver, the loser of the weekend will be Cam Waters. Now, I know I put in P3 for race 2, but I do believe that overall, as a weekend structure, it won't be the ideal start for his championship this year. Finishing P2 last year, you'd like to hope he'd be up in the top 2 at least throughout the weekend. But I've just put him to not have a shocker, but, he'll only be on the podium once for the weekend, that sort of thing. Now, into our weekly motorsport news. The 2022 Adelaide 500 race weekend recorded an economic benefit of $51 million for Adelaide. Now, with a 4-day attendance of 258,200 people, 12,000 of them being interstate visitors, covering an estimate of 96,671 visitor nights. Absolutely incredible. Now, 4 teams have ran at Winton on Wednesday. They have used a revised mapping solution that should solve a throttle response issue experienced at Sydney Motorsport Park. However, Ford are still in the belief that there is a performance deficit to the Camaro. Supercars have finalised the minimum weight for the cars at 1,335 kilograms, which is 65 kilograms from a lighter off the Gen 2 vehicle. In F1 news, Aston Martin F1 team seem to be the team that has capitalised the most over the winter break and could be fighting in the top half of the constructor table, with Fernando leading the team. I have recorded this video/podcast on the 3rd of March on Friday, so there is very well likely news. More information on the aero parity have been released, so I do urge you all to look at that. But yeah, I look forward to the Newcastle round. I will be going up for both days. Luckily for me, I am in Sydney, so it's not much of an effort. But yeah, feel free to check out my social media accounts: TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, all called Down Under Motorsport. I've released a few videos already for this season, including a Sydney Motorsport rundown for the test day, as well as a livery reveal. But yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. See ya.